So I think we are good. So I am here in Bobcaygeon the first time this summer, and I'm visiting Kawartha Dairy. We wanted to do a call out to the good work that Kawartha Dairy and the Crow family has been doing here in Bobcaygeon. But before we get into that, I wanted to introduce you to Brian Kerr, the CEO and you've got a general manager. So Brian's been kind enough to allow us to capture some live comments. Brian has been in the thick of things here in Bobcaygeon, and it goes without saying that certainly Bobcaygeon has been in the news because of COVID-19, and it's been tragic what's happened to people here in the community. But as much as it's been tragic, it's been also really hopeful to see the community come together and really step up, as Bobcaygeon has always done throughout the years. But I think this time, because it caught national attention, it caught a lot more people's ears and eyes. So we wanted to take a moment and recognize what Kawartha Dairy did in the context of what was happening here in Bobcaygeon at the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis. So Brian, I've spoken enough, so why don't we throw it over to you, and maybe you could just talk about how things came together and the reaction and what was happening here in real time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been probably one of the most interesting times I've ever had in my career, being in food for the last 35 years. And I gotta tell you, working at Kawartha Dairy and in a small town has definitely helped us move along through the journey. Kawartha Dairy, being a dairy providing wholesome dairy products, was deemed an essential service right from the very beginning. We declared that even before the pandemic set forth, and we've been in for quite the ride as we went through it. Some of the big challenges that we saw very early on was an incremental panic buying impact on our fluid milk. Doubled our fluid milk business almost overnight. And really hats off to our workers to be able to pull off delivering against those big orders and making sure that our drivers were getting them into all of those customers who needed our milk. Our focus has really been through the whole pandemic is focused on our employees, our customers, our products, our communities, and for those of you in the family business community, it's important to focus on cash. And I would say that focusing on all of those things has really steered us in the right direction. And as such, we've been able to keep all of those things safe through this pandemic.
Brian, if I remember right, you came from big corporation before you started here. Have you had a moment to reflect about the differences between how big corporations react to, or how they've reacted to the situation, or in general, and how the Crow family and Kawartha Dairy have reacted to what happened here?
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you that my experience at Kraft Foods really helped set us up for success here. I was involved in various pandemic planning efforts at Kraft Foods, and I was able to bring some of that knowledge to the already strong processes that we had here. I'll tell you the big difference in working in a smaller family-owned business is the fact that the Crow family cares a lot about employees, and we were able to put employees first ahead of the business. And by doing that, it actually helped us make sure that we delivered on the business. So we did a lot of things very early on ahead of a lot of the big companies. We were one of the first companies to put emergency pay in place for all employees to
Tremendous.
be on site. We pay everyone $2 an hour extra for being here. We very quickly secured, access to loans if in fact we needed them, because we recognized that very early on. We implemented 10 extra sick days for all of our workers to make sure that they could feel comfortable if they weren't feeling well, that they could stay at home. And what really made it happen was the fact that the Crows cared a lot about employees, and we were able to make decisions very quickly, which, as most people know, does not happen in big corporations.
Absolutely, thank you. On a lighter note, Jane and I usually get a chance to visit Kawartha Dairy in the summer, and Terry Crow always introduces us to a new flavor. What's happening this year?
Our big new flavor, which we actually launched in March, is called Key Lime Pie.
Okay.
I will be honest, it's my new favorite.
All right.
And we launched that in cooperation and coordination with Muskoka Brewery. It was something that was sort of born in the dock as we were coming up with ideas on what we could do together. and we actually both launched a key lime pie beer and ice cream back in March, and I have to say we're already sold out.
Are you really?
So
I'm not going to enjoy any
no,
today.
you will, because
okay.
We're actually running it on Saturday. So
all right.
We'll be back in stock in the
Good to know. Good to know. All right. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking the time. And again, just a big call out from Kawartha Family Business Group to Kawartha Dairy and the good work that happens here all the time, and particularly for the good work that's happened over the last few months.
Great.
Many thanks.
Much.